face to face.
Who owns the burro?
Oh, I claim the honor.
I'll give you $10 for him.
Well, he's not for sale, mister. Besides, I paid 10 times that much in Dai.
$10 is the Skagway price.
Sorry.
Then I'll take him.
I don't like to use this, mister, even in a pinch. Is this the pinch?
Like you made yourself an enemy, Mike.
Looks like you're right, Lester. You know that gentle soul?
Yeah. Name's John Conrad. Durain's been using him to take over the transportation business. Since you've been gone, they got a corner in about every pack animal in Skagway. Well, them burros there used to belong to Gil Larch. Now they're owned by Durain and Conrad. And that demon wagon was Ben Warren's. Now it's Durain and Conrad's. Fact is, Hen Swoger's the only holdout.
Still wrangling mules for Swoger?
Yeah, I had to lay me off. Folks find it kind of dangerous to rent mules from Swoger on account of the pressure.
Pressure?
Well, like you got, and worse.
Maybe I ought to have a talk with Durain about his new employee.
Conrad is Durain's new partner.
Partner? He'd be better off in partnership with a bull elephant. Oh,
come on, General. You could talk plainer than that.
Hills are full of hostiles. Hang on to your scalp. Hang on to your scalp. Scalp.
That's better. Michael. Meet General Custer. I just bought him off an old 7th Cavalry Indian scout.
Afternoon, General.
Saddle and ride. Saddle and ride. Saddle and ride.
He claims to be the only survivor of Custer's last stand.
Sounds like he can lie almost as fast as you can, Jefferson.
Oh, well, why not? He's 40 years older. Haven't seen you in a while, Mike.
Oh, I've been on a surveying trip in Dai.
Oh, still involved in honest toil, despite all my office. Too bad. Well, what can I do for you?
Jefferson, I'm a patient man.
Not to mention a scholar.
I didn't complain too much when you stole my watch and money the first day I got to Skagway.
And I didn't complain when you stole them back.
You've tried to fleece, badger, and fray me every chance you've had since then. I've been indulgent about that.
You've been the soul of understanding.
Thanks. But now, when you send your new bully boy after me, I have to protest.
Michael, there's one thing I've always liked about you. You've never been windy. Now, would you mind coming to the point?
Keep John Conrad out of my way, or I'll have to put a ring through his nose and yours.
If I'm not being too inquisitive, what did Conrad do to you?
Oh, not much. He just tried to break my head and take my burro.
Well, I'll have to speak to him.
You do that. Afternoon, General.
Dismount and dig in. Dismount and dig in.
Goldie?
Why don't you get rid of that bird? He's got a big mouth.
Is Conrad at the bar?
No, he's not. He's gone down to Swoger's stable. He said he's going to try and persuade him to sell.
Excellent. I think I'll go down and help him close the deal.
The answer is the same as it was before, when Durain tried to buy them. I don't sell my mules. I rent them.
Now, you don't want to be the only holdout, Swoger. $10 a mule. 20 mules, that's $200. Here's $500 for your stable and house. Without the mules, you won't need them.
$500. Get out. All of you.
leave those mules alone. Leave them alone. You talk too much.
To buy Swooger out, not to kill him. Drop him, John. Now that's enough. Now when I say enough, do you listen?
He didn't want to sell.
Well, you convinced him. All right. You go back to the saloon.
For a couple days.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Swooger.
Oh, Lester.
Well, anything wrong?
Well, Henry's been beat half to death. I just left him at the doctor's.
Mr. Swooger? Beat up?
Who did it, Mrs. Swooger?
Who are you?
This is Mike Halliday, ma'am.
Oh, I see. Well, I figure I shouldn't be talking to you. From what I hear, you and Durain get awful chummy.
Oh, you got Mike all wrong, Mrs. Swooger. Why, he's the only man that ever stood up to Jeff Durain and came out on top.
Is that a fact? Well, them duds, they ain't fancy enough for a gambler, and they're too clean for a prospector. Just what is your line?
Oh, I do a little surveying, ma'am. Good weather. Mostly, I try to make a living without cheating or sweating. Right now, I'm concerned about who beat up your husband.
It was that big ape of Durain.
Conrad?
Well, I didn't see it. I found Swooger with his skull busted and his ribs cracked.
Sit down, Mrs. Swooger.
He told me in the dock that Conrad was like an insane man. He just kept on with his fist and with his boot.
Will he make it, Mrs. Swooger?
Well, Lester, you know my mister. It's going to take more than this mad bull to put Henry Swooger away permanent.
Who's taking care of your stables, Mrs. Swooger?
Jeff Durain.
That's what I figured.
Oh, he's hounded Henry for days trying to get him to sell his mules. You saw how he done, Lester, before we had to lay you off.
Durain and Conrad forced you to sell out?
Sell? We ain't never gonna sell. My mister wouldn't sell, and not to Durain and his big ape. Of course, Durain claims that he paid for our place, but we ain't never saw a cent.
Lester will help you get set up here at the hotel. I'll have a talk with Durain.
Come on. There we are.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
As often as he used to.
Well, I've been out of town.
Yes, I know. 12 whole days. But even before that. What's wrong? Are you afraid of me or something?
Cautious. I never seem to win at your table.
Oh, the stakes are high, and there's a lot of competition. But my table does pay off. To the right hand.
I'm sorry, Goldie, but I got business to transact.
I don't know why I bother with you. All you do is make me nervous.
Well, it's a good thing that one of us is gone.
Michael, my boy, I was just thinking about you. And at last, I've got a proposition you can't turn down.
Not again.
How does this sound to you? Michael Halliday III, Transportation Commissioner for Skagway.
How's it sound to you? Run Conrad out of town for beating Swoger.
Is that all?
Give Swoger back his stable and pay his doctor bill.
Mm-hmm. And if I don't?
I'll do to you what Conrad did to Swoger.
Throw him out!
You keep out of this, General.
Throw him out! Michael Halliday III, still the righteous young man. The modern Isaiah in Babylon.
Well, take your time, Jefferson. You got till sundown.
Well, if it ain't the Pilgrim, you still got your knife?
I won't need it.
John?
I don't think you'll ever be able to housebreak this boy, Jefferson. You can't control every dumb beast in Skagway, begging your pardon.
Our young friend here just threatened us with bodily harm, John.
That's pretty funny.
I'm a born comedian.
Now, take it easy, Michael. You're up against a rigged game. You should know that.
The only thing that's rigged about this game is your bullneck partner. When he goes down, you're out of business.
I'm never out of business. Besides, I handpick my partners.
You call this a partner? I've seen this kind of an animal before. You get him mad, and he'll go berserk.
That's my responsibility.
Listen to me, Jefferson. When this boy goes, you may not be able to control him. Watch him, Jefferson.
Well, Mike, you look a little grim. What did Durain say? Is he going to pull out?
Oh, everything is fine, Mrs. Foger. The rain was like putty in my hands.
Well, that's good. In fact, it's almost too good to believe. How did you do it?
Oh, well, no sense in bothering you with the details. The result is a thing. And now you just stay here until your husband gets better, and I'll run out to your place and take care of everything.
Well, hold on. I'm in on this. I'm going, too.
Well, I don't think you'd better, Mrs. Foger.
Why not, if everything's settled?
Well, there might be a little further discussion.
With John Conrad?
Well, you know how he is. Talk.
Now, well, I'm going.
No, you're not. You'd be more useful here in town in case trouble pops up. And it will. You know how to use one of these?
Well, I was weaned on one.
Lester, fill that with a charge of rock salts, not as messy as buckshot. And if used in the right place, it makes a man think.
Well, I guess I'll stay after all. Say, but are you sure you can handle everything out at the stable all by yourself? Don't say nothing. You can do it. I saw a flash in your eye then that made me think of Henry Swoger the first day I ever met him.
What are you doing?
Putting up my sign.
This ain't your property.
Whose is it?
Belongs to Jeff Durain and John Conrad.
It belongs to Henry Swoger and Michael Halliday. You go back to Conrad and Durain and tell them who this property belongs to. Tell them to see me if that news bothers them.
Now then, here's some fine livestock for rent.
Guaranteed to carry your supplies all the way to the Klondike from the Swoger Holiday Livery Stables. Any takers? $100 a week.
I'll take that little mule.
You got yourself a deal.
Well, Michael, you had a busy morning.
And the profitable one.
You made a bad mistake, Michael.
Well, it pays well.
We talk too much.
I'll take the money, Michael. Otherwise, John will... John, we're going to take Michael over to my office.
You've got him back on leash. Would you like to try for the money yourself?
Oh, Michael, you know I don't operate that way. I'll handle Conrad.
Like you handled my husband, Doreen?
I'm doing nothing illegal, Mrs. Swoger. Your husband sold out to me.
Where's the bill of sale?
Michael, Mrs. Swoger, you have my apologies for now.
Come along, Mrs. Swoger. We'll go back to the stable.
Michael, you'll find there's considerable competition in the transportation business.
You bet there is. You're looking right at it.
Rock salt. Outside of standing up to eat, John's as good as new.
I'm going to catch him and I'm going to kill him.
Well, now take your time, John. Let him get settled down at Swoger's first. Let him get bedded in, then you go have a talk with him.
Jeff, you can't send him out after Mike. You know what'll happen.
Yes? I have a very good idea.
If you let him get hurt, I'll...
Goldie. You're a luxury. A very expensive luxury. It flatters my ego to have a beautiful woman on my arm. Besides, it's good for business. But don't you ever deceive yourself into thinking that you are indispensable to me, my lady. As for John, well, he works for me in my interests. And I, not you, will judge what those interests are. Mr. Halliday has decided to move in on us. Now, he'll have to pay the cost of that decision.
Well, are you sure you want to stay?
Pull hens up and around.
Well, where are you going to sleep?
Over in the stable.
You really want to go all the way with it, don't you? Well, all right. You do what you think is best.
somewhat late. You are just in time to see him get a good beating.
Now, John, let him out! Now, you've done what you were told. Now, leave him alone. Have a drink, General? I guess you're too young.
Too young, too young,
How are you feeling now, honey?
Like a man beaten.
Not enough gold, not enough gold.
Had about enough of the transportation business, Jefferson?
For the present. But don't get overconfident.
I won't. As I came up here, I noticed a big improvement in the town. Your boys were running Conrad out of it.
Oh, yes, that was an idea that developed rather slowly.
One thing about you, Jefferson. You learn hard, but you do pay well for your lessons. If you don't run out of time and money, you'll be a very wise man. Someday.
Pay well for the lesson. Pay well for the lesson.
Thank you, General.